Welcome back to Mason-Dixon Acres. Today, Alex and I are going to be building our chickens a tractor. You can see behind me that the girls are standing by the door. They have been allowed to free range for the past several months, and they have gotten a little too curious and have been crossing the road. And so we are building them a tractor so that they can still have some fresh areas to scratch around in, but we don't have to worry about them crossing the road.
We are Alex and Elena, a couple in our mid-20s working towards financial independence and self-sustainability.
Follow our journey as we grow, build, fix, and learn the skills we need to get us there. What are you silly girls doing? You want out? Okay, we'll let you free range. Come on out. Look at those fluffy butts.
For this project, your main ingredient is going to be PVC. We're using 1-inch Schedule 40, and we have 140 foot of it for a 10 by 10 by 2 foot enclosure. Also got this 2-foot section of 1 1/4 inch PVC. This is going to slide over our 1-inch and act as a hinge for the 2 doors that we're going to put on. We're going to cover the whole thing in chicken wire. We have 2-inch mesh. I got a 6 foot by 150 foot roll, I think it is, for like 25 bucks from Home Depot. A box of PVC furniture fittings, so a bunch of 5-ways, 4-ways. You have to figure out the exact amount based on your design, but I got them online. You can't really find them in the big box stores. Of course, PVC primer and glue to put everything together, and then finally zip ties to put the chicken wire onto the enclosure. One other thing is we will be putting wheels on. I'll figure out the materials for that a little later on in the project.
For our design, we are going to be cutting 24 5-foot sections of this PVC, as well as 9 2-foot pieces of PVC.
We're using 3 of these 5-way connectors, 9 of the 4-way connectors, 6 3-way elbows, and 8 regular elbows. My Sawzall with a metal cutting blade made quick work of cutting the PVC.
Did we mess up?
I'd have forgotten 1 or 2 fittings.
So we got the entire assembly dry assembled and realized that we were shorted a fitting over here in the corner.
Beware of PVC fittings online. We ordered 9 4-ways, we got 8.
Just make sure to count what you receive before you get started on your project. But in the meantime, what we are going to do is we're going to glue up these panels. So we'll glue up the side, the middle, and then as much of this last side as we can, and we'll put them into storage while we wait for that last fitting. Hello, girlies. Oh, hello. Oh my goodness. We have 3 hawks that are super close flying around. You can't even tell how close they are in this video, but so scary. And our little girls knew what to do. They're hiding behind this bush. So proud of them, but I think we might have to put them in the run for now till these hawks are no longer interested.
Here, I'll show you how I glue these joints. So I just take my purple primer, prime the pipe, prime the fitting while it's still wet, get my glue. This glue is kind of old and dried up, but it seems to still be working. And then I slide it on, twist it around a little bit, spread that glue out, make sure it's oriented correctly, and I'll just take a leaf and scrape the excess glue off before it dries, just for appearance sake. Sometimes the glue can actually push the pipe back out, so you just want to hold it firm for like 10 seconds and it's done. Fast forward 1 week, after a call to the company, they sent the missing 4-way connector so we can proceed with the project. Now that I have these 3 panels assembled and glued together, I'm gonna stand them up, glue the cross pieces in, and then the whole thing will be pretty much built. On this one I screwed up last week and I wasn't paying attention. I glued the 4-way fitting the wrong orientation, so it's gonna be a 2-foot plus a 3-foot splice to make a 5-foot on one of the sides. Before I get too far in gluing the frame, I gotta remember that we are putting some door hinges on this. We're gonna do a front small door for the chickens to come out in and out of, and then we're gonna do 1/4 of it is gonna basically have a roof that opens up, and that way we can access it for food and water. So how we're gonna do this is, it just so happens that an 1.25" PVC pipe fits perfectly over top of 1-inch PVC, which is what the frame material is. So we're essentially gonna glue 2 pieces of this 1.25" on edge into like an 8 shape, and then use 1 inch for our door frame as well. So it's gonna basically be a built-in hinge using this PVC pipe. It'll be easier to visualize once you see it.
Didn't take long to figure out the pipes would not stay glued together as is.
When in doubt, break out the belt sander.
I gave them a little more surface area anyway.
That seems much stronger. Seems to be holding together. All right, frame is all glued up. Next steps, you might have been wondering why we have this sticking out here and a 4-way sticking out over there, one on the opposite side. Well, that's because the handle is gonna go here that we're gonna pick it up and drag it with. And then over here, we're gonna basically be putting 2 little pieces of pipe out that kind of act as a pivot for the axle. So kind of hard to explain, but basically gonna put a wheel on that. So stay tuned. The next thing I'm gonna work on is the doors. You can get a better idea of how these hinges are gonna work now. To turn this from a double jointed hinge into a single jointed, we're gonna put a screw right through here. When you realize you should have done the door first.
Now time for the wheel and axle assembly.
All right, now that I got these pieces cut out for where the wheel's gonna attach to, I'm gonna make the wheels. I'm really cheaping out here and just making the wheels out of plywood scraps. But they won't really be seeing a lot of use, so I think it'll be just fine. Here's my go-to method for making a circle. I found an old flower pot, I'm going to trace around it and then just cut it out on the bandsaw. Now I got a drill for the axle. Here's my trick for that. To find center, I kind of eyeball it with a compass and then do several passes from the edge of the circle, and kind of where the center point of all those are, it's the very center of my circle. Works a lot better when you have a well cut circle. I know that somewhere right around there is where I want to drill. For the axle itself, I'm just using a carriage bolt. Definitely not the roundest wheel I've ever seen. I'm gonna put a little spacer there. I'm gonna do a double jam nut to make sure that the nuts don't back off. Cool. Mind you, it's like 20 degrees out here and windy. Not exactly ideal conditions for what I'm doing. Could be worse. Okay, here we go.
We actually ended up using the chicken tractor a lot sooner than we originally planned. We ended up inheriting 2 chickens from our neighbor. He had an attack on the rest of his chickens and only had 2 left, so he asked us if we would take them. So those 2 chickens have been quarantined from our other chickens for now. So we've been using the chicken tractor for a few weeks. Since then, we have realized that the wheels are really flimsy, and during the summer we are going to change them over to some type of skid rather than a wheel mechanism. Another thing that we are going to change is we are going to add some type of roofing material over one of the squares so that the chickens have some shelter from the elements. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to click the thumbs up. Also make sure to subscribe to our channel and find us on Instagram and Facebook at Mason Dixon Acres. See you next time.